of America and Living Under Nazi Rule exam paper. We're going to talk you through the exam rubric, give you some top tips, okay, and just make sure that you are focusing on not just revising the content but also the rubric. So this exam paper is an hour and 45 minutes. You will go through each section, so you'll have roughly about 52 minutes on each section, and you need to be careful with your timing on that. Now, the Making of America is the same structure as the People's Health. So you'll get your 3 1-mark questions at the top, and you only need to do 1 word or 1 phrase for those questions. The 9-mark question will always be write a clear and organised summary that analyses, and then it's up to you how you structure this, as long as you have got 3 explained points. So you could structure it around causation, around change, around time, okay, but that is your decision. The 10-mark question is always going to be an explain question. So why did, or what was the impact of? And for that, again, you need 3 explained points. And for that, you really need to focus on fully linking to the question and fully developing your explanation. So there are 3 different explained points there for the 10-mark question. Finally, you will have a choice for the 18-mark question, so make sure that you only do 1 of those 18-mark questions. The top tip for the 18-mark question is to make sure that you have 4 explained points within your answer. So that could be 2 agree and 2 disagree, or 3 agree and 1 disagree. But if your point is not fully explained, then you will not get the credit for those marks. So once again, you'll have 52 minutes to do this part of the exam.
You have a source question for your 7-marker. Your 7-mark question is always, what can the source tell us about something? The first tip I give my classes is to find the focus of the question. So in this case, it's what can the source tell us about Hitler and the Nazi Party in January 1933. For this kind of question, you need to pick your answer. So P, purpose. Why was this created at the time it was made? I is for inference. What can you get or suggest from that information? And CK is contextual knowledge. Make sure that your contextual knowledge links to the date that the source was created. For example, in this case, it's January 1933, so you can't mention any information following that date. It has to be linked to that directly.
So you'll roughly spend about 10 minutes on that 7-marker. The 15-marker, there's quite a lot to do with it. We are suggesting around 20 minutes on the 15-marker. Now you get more marks for having well-explained sources and interpretations. So you will get 3 sources and interpretations to answer in this question, okay? And you will have 20 minutes to do it. The question is always going to be how useful are, and then sources B, C and interpretation D in this case, for a historian studying total war in Germany between 1943 and 1945. Again, a bit like the 7-marker, you really need to focus on what the question is asking. In this one, it is total war. If you do not refer to total war within your paragraph, you are not going to get higher than 3 marks out of 15. Now, we have been teaching you the clock structure for how to answer this. So you see is your content. So what is the source? So in this case, source B is a speech made by Goebbels in February 1943. Your link for your L, okay, is how useful is this for the question? So what does this source tell us about total war in Germany? And you might want to use a quote from the source if it's a written source, or if it's a picture source, you might want to describe part of the picture to illustrate your point. Your O is your own knowledge. Now this needs to be relevant. So in this case, obviously it is the propaganda minister. It is in February 1943, which is right at the start of total war. It's when total war has just been announced. So you wouldn't be bringing in own knowledge from 1945. It would need to be relevant to this source. And it would either support the source for its usefulness, or it might challenge the source for its usefulness. So you might be saying, actually, this source isn't very useful, and this is why I know it isn't very useful. Finally, the P is your provenance. Okay, where if you touch on purpose as well, you will put yourself higher in the mark scheme. The provenance will always be the section in bold. So in this case, it's a speech, it's in February 1943, and it's been produced by the propaganda ministry. Now, that is going to be useful for telling us the Nazi perspective on total war. it isn't going to be that useful for telling us the impact on total water, as it is a speech about it. Okay, so just a reminder, you've got C for content, L for link, O for own knowledge, and P for provenance or purpose. To get into the top bracket of the mark scheme, which is 13 to 15 marks, you do also need a conclusion where you compare the 3 sources and interpretations for which is the most useful. Our top advice for this would be to annotate the sources when you look at them. I would take one at a time, answer it, write your paragraph, then annotate the next one, okay, to put yourself higher in the mark scheme.
Top tip for these 18 markers is to look out for the dates. The dates will be what catch you out in that exam. So making sure that you highlight those first of all. So terror was more important than propaganda between 1933 and 39. So you cannot reference anything that happens during wartime for that question. Again, following this wild structure, you can have 4 explained points. So that could be 2 either side, or 3 to 1, or 1 to 3.